All right, Bat fans, here we go. Where there's a Colin Farrell interview, there is a question to be asked about the Batman Part 2. But this time, he dropped some interesting new tidbits along the lines of what he's been saying recently. But this sounds even more interesting and making me even more excited, if that's possible, for the Batman Part 2. Hello everyone, welcome to Digital Charcuterie. My name is James. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're new to the channel and looking forward to the Batman Part 2, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to talk about it and discuss it with you all until its release in 2 years from now. Let's get right into it. Variety had an interview with Colin Farrell, and this is what they had to say. I have a contractual obligation to ask you about the Batman 2. You've read Matt Reeves' script. What can you share about what to expect? And Colin Farrell said, I'm contractually obligated to shoot that question down, to meet your contractual obligation with my contractual obligation. What a sword fight. No, as I said a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was one of the festivals. I read the script and it's just brilliant. My perspective is that it's a work of contemporary genre brilliance. It really is. Matt toils so hard and he puts himself under so much pressure. And he realizes what this character and this world mean to so many people. And he knows it's been around for decades. Decades. He's the man for the job. He really is. He's a brilliant filmmaker. The thing about Matt as well is that as commercially minded as he is, he's also as intellectually rigorous. This film, like the first one, works on multiple levels, both as pure entertainment and as an investigation into the psychology of the characters of Bruce Wayne and Batman. It's really, really moving. I found myself very emotionally moved while I was reading it. This is more of a deep dive into what Colin Farrell has said in the past, but this time it's not just fluffing around like, oh, it's a great script, he's brilliant or whatever. And when I hear all that, my bat radar goes wild because that means Reeves isn't making a sequel, he's dissecting Bruce Wayne and Batman's soul. So today we're going to break it all down. First, what Farrell's words tell us about the tone of the Batman 2, and then we're diving deep into the villain. Who could it be, how it connects to Bruce's psychology, and why this next chapter could make Gotham feel more real, more dangerous, and more tragic than ever before. First of all, when he says it's contemporary genre brilliance, that's Reeves basically reinventing what a superhero movie is. This isn't a popcorn sequel. This is a neo-noir psychological drama dressed as a comic book film. And that line, an investigation into the psychology of Bruce Wayne and Batman, that's the heart of it. In the first movie, Bruce learned vengeance wasn't justice. In this one, he's going to learn that even hope can turn toxic when it's fueled by guilt and obsession. Farrell calling the script emotionally moving tells us we're not just getting dark aesthetics, we're getting emotional vulnerability. This movie's gonna hurt Bruce Wayne, and Reeves is gonna make sure you feel that pain. Think about the end of the first film. Gotham is literally flooded. Symbolically, that's Bruce's psyche. He tried to cleanse the city, but all he did was drown it and himself. Now, Gotham's half underwater, its institutions collapsing, the people desperate. That's the perfect setup for a story about rebuilding both a city and a man. This movie won't start with the next crime spree. It's going to start with the aftermath of trauma. And Reeves, who Farrell describes as intellectually rigorous, is going to explore what that trauma does to someone like Bruce. How do you continue to be Batman when you've seen that vengeance doesn't heal? How do you inspire hope when the city itself is broken? That's why Farrell's quote matters so much. It's not just hype, it's direction. He's telling us this movie is about psychology, not spectacle, emotion, not escalation. If Batman was a detective story about corruption, part 2 is going to be a therapy session from hell. All right, now we got to do the obligatory, let's talk about the villains. But what he said now is setting up even more villains to speculate upon. We all know that I'm leaning heavily into the Hugo Strange side of things. Well, if you're new to this channel, you wouldn't know that. If you have been on this channel, you know I've been leaning towards Hugo Strange, and there's some others, but let's start with Hugo Strange and work our way down from there. This guy practically defines psychological Batman stories. Hugo Strange is obsessed with Batman, not to defeat him, but to understand him. He's one of the first to figure out Bruce's identity in the comics, and he doesn't want to expose it. He wants to own it. Imagine Gotham after the flood, Arkham is being rebuilt, the city's leadership is gone, and Hugo Strange becomes the new head of psychiatric research. He's studying trauma, fear, heroism, and somewhere in those case files, he finds Batman. Farrell said this film is intellectually rigorous. That's Strange in a nutshell. Scientific brilliance warped by obsession. He could easily manipulate half of Gotham's villains from the shadows, turning the whole movie into a psychological chess match. From Hugo Strange, we can lead into The Ghost from Bruce's Past. Hush, a fan favorite right now. Thomas Elliot. We already got the Hush tease in the first movie's Riddler broadcast. Hush is a childhood resentment made flesh. He's jealousy. He's the kid who grew up hating Bruce's wealth and privilege and decided to carve his own face to become him. If the Batman 2 is about guilt and identity, Hush fits perfectly. He forces Bruce to question whether his fortune, his very existence, caused more harm than good. He's vengeance reborn in a more personal, emotional way. And think about the emotional resonance. A story about Bruce confronts a childhood friend who's been twisted by envy could absolutely deliver that. And then that leads us to another obvious choice, the Court of Owls. Now, if Reeves wants to expand the mythology while keeping it psychological, you can't get better than the Court of Owls. They're Gotham's secret ruling class, hidden, manipulative, ancient. They'd force Bruce to confront the ultimate horror, that the Waynes weren't saviors, they were pawns. That everything he's fought for, the name, the symbol, the mission, was built on a lie. Emotionally devastating, absolutely. Intellectually rigorous, completely. And visually, Reeves could go gothic horror with their imagery. Owls lurking in flooded ruins, silent assassins emerging from the dark. It's the perfect thematic continuation of corruption and legacy. There's a character who was hinted at early on that kind of has fallen by the wayside lately, but I think this quote might hint at Mr. Freeze. The tragedy of love turned obsession. If Reeves decides to lean hard into the emotionally moving side, Victor Freeze fits like a glove. A man literally frozen in time because he can't let go of love. Freeze isn't evil, he's grief personified. He's what happens when devotion becomes obsession, the same thing that drives Bruce. This could be grounded. A scientist trying to cryogenically save his wife in a post-flood Gotham, his experiments endangering the city's infrastructure, he'd be sympathetic and horrifying. The exact mix that makes the Batman world feel real. And how about the heir of madness, Jeremiah Arkham? In the comics, he's the descendant of Amadeus Arkham, founder of the asylum. He starts as a well-meaning doctor but slowly descends into the same madness he's trying to cure. He's the embodiment of the cycle of trauma. Imagine him trying to rehabilitate Gotham's criminals post-Riddler, turning Arkham into a therapy lab, but his obsession with understanding evil corrupts him. He could become the spiritual successor to Hugo Strange, or even merge with elements of Black Mask, controlling the asylum from the inside. That fits Farrell's quote perfectly, intellectually rigorous, a villain who's literally the mind of Gotham collapsing in on itself. And finally, this one I think is a bit of a deep cut, but I did a video on him a little while ago with Jeremiah Arkham, and I think I'm really buying into this one right here, and that is Dr. Simon Hurt, the devil of the Waynes. Now, if Reeves really wants to go full psychological horror, he could bring in Dr. Hurt. This character is one of the strongest, most unsettling figures in Batman lore. A scientist, a psychologist, sometimes claiming to be Bruce's ancestor, sometimes claiming to be the devil himself. In Grant Morrison's run, Hurt tries to rewrite Bruce's mind, breaking him through hallucination of torture and psychological warfare. He's the ultimate metaphor for inherited evil, the dark secret at the heart of the Wayne bloodline. Imagine the Batman Part 2 revealing that the Wayne family's philanthropy was masking a darker history, that Bruce's nightmares aren't just trauma, they're echoes of something ancient. That would make Farrell's emotionally moving comment make perfect sense, because it turns the story inward. Bruce wouldn't just be facing Gotham's madness, he'd be facing his own lineage. Right now, those are my top contenders to be the villains in the Batman Part 2. Let me know if you have any top contenders that you suspect might be there to antagonize Bruce Wayne Batman in the Batman Part 2. I can't wait for this movie. Whoever the villain is, they're going to challenge Batman on a psychological and emotional level. They won't try to destroy Gotham's body, they'll try to corrupt its soul. Farrell's praise, genre brilliance, intellectually rigorous, emotionally moving, that's all code for character study disguised as crime saga. A modern myth about trauma, legacy, and the cost of obsession. The Batman Part 2 isn't just another chapter, it's a descent. It's Bruce Wayne's reckoning with himself in his city and of his past. So whether it's Hugo Strange manipulating the mind, Jeremiah Arkham losing his, Hush returning from the past, or Dr. Hurt whispering from the shadows, one truth is clear. Matt Reeves is about to make the most emotionally devastating Batman movie ever made. And as Colin Farrell said, it's a work of contemporary brilliance and it's really, really moving. If that's true, we're not just getting the Batman 2, we're getting a Batman film for the ages. And I've said before, I think, look, Matt Reeves' Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is one of the best sequels ever made, and I think Matt Reeves doing a sequel to his own movie might be one of the strongest movies we ever get. Am I overhyping it? Possibly, so let's reel it back a bit. This movie's gonna suck. It's probably gonna be the worst Batman movie ever. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'll be covering it on the channel all I can. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hit the like button, subscribe button. Until next time, maybe the master of your own universe.